Pokémon Sword and Shield have a pretty obvious theme of renewal, and even more obviously of passing down the torch, of handing responsibility to the new generation. This seems symbolic of how Game Freak is operating, and it might also be indicative of the future of the franchise. Now, I will be talking about some of the late plot of the game and some of the post-game as well, so if you haven't finished it yet, here's a spoiler warning, although I think it's pretty safe 2 weeks in. I love the idea of major and minor league gyms, with the 8 gyms that we played through in the story being part of the major league, and there being different ones in each version, which ones are part of the major league or not, and also the idea that the gym leaders have an internal tournament to decide which gyms are major league versus which ones are minor league, and presumably also which order you're going to battle them in. It means that each year, the gyms of the major league could be different, or at least the order that you battle them in. So the gyms are constantly changing, and no gym challenge is going to be the same from one year to the next. What isn't clear here is where those other 10 gyms are, the ones of the minor league, or what they really serve for if they're not part of the gym challenge, but even if they just spend their entire time training, they could still take one of those major league spots for next year. Throughout the story, we also see 2 new characters be chosen as gym leaders. Opal sees promise in Bede, even though he was disqualified from the gym challenge. I guess it had something to do with his pink coat or something. But she actually trains him, and he grows stronger, and he grows as a person too. And I found it really interesting how, even though he's now the fairy type gym leader, he still carries 3 psychic types on his team, so he hasn't fully abandoned his old preferences. And then we also have Marnie taking over from her brother Piers. Piers never really wanted to be a gym leader anyway. He was just kind of holding that spot until Marnie got old enough. And Marnie had bigger ambitions. She wanted to be champion, but she took that spot anyway, where she still has the possibility of challenging the champion. This theme of renewal is pretty explicit outside of gyms as well. Sonia is the new professor, and apparently she actually does have a doctorate and has written a book. So after serving as Magnolia's apprentice for a few years, she finally finds her calling as a historian of sorts, and she literally takes on that mantle of the professor, the lab coat. Even with the role of champion, throughout the story, Leon takes that responsibility of protecting the region. He's the one doing investigations and battling rampaging Dynamax Pokemon. That is, until you beat him in the championship match. When you're dealing with those weirdos in the post-game, he's nowhere to be seen. The player character, being the new champion, does what Leon was doing before, even going after rampaging Dynamax Pokemon, and so on. There's a few things that I think we can take from all of this. First, it's that Sword and Shield sequels are practically necessary. Just set it a few years in the future, with Marnie and Bede as gym leaders, Sonia as a fully realized professor, maybe some of the other gyms have changed around as well. I don't know what the story would be, but the setup is there. But there's also a symbolic side to it. On the one hand, it seems to reflect Game Freak itself. Junichi Masuda has said that Let's Go would be his last games as director, and he'd already not directed several other games, including Sun and Moon and Ultra, but now he seems to be taking a more passive role as series producer, and Omori taking over as director for Sword and Shield. We also have James Turner being art director for the first time, so we have people who are a little bit newer to the company, maybe a little bit younger too, and they are taking on bigger roles. They are given more control over the direction of the series. And I think one way of rating this is as a renewal of the Pokemon series as a whole. Sword and Shield brought back many series basics, from gyms to starter evolutions that have a single type, but they also introduced a ton of new things. For example, Galarian evolutions, which is kind of a combination of something old, something we haven't seen since Generation 4, which is new evolutions to existing Pokemon, and something new, which is regional forms. And I think we can expect to keep seeing more of that. More ways to shake up the formula, to break out of the kind of same old feel of Pokemon games. And when something doesn't work, I'm sure they'll be okay with going back, but I really welcome this renewal to the series. I don't want to keep playing the same game over and over again, so I really look forward to them trying new things. And who knows, maybe they're willing to go for sequels, not remakes. Thank you to the Ruined Maniac Files and Ethan, and I think a couple other people who were talking about this topic in my stream chat and got me thinking about it. But how about you? Are you happy to see the series being shaken up, whether you're actually satisfied with the particular choices or not? Or would you prefer to just see more of the same? And would you be interested in seeing Sword and Shield sequels? If you have any thoughts, please let me know in the comments. And if you're new here, I would appreciate it if you subscribed and maybe turn on notifications. I'm Umbreon Libris. I'll see you in the next chapter.